Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes, and welcome to a story that we're going to talk about here that is something I've talked about before. It's something that will affect virtually every country in the world sooner or later. South Korea and China will be the first ones, I think. But it's certainly happening here, and it's happening to an extent that a Tory think tank is now sort of looking into it and getting a little bit worried. We're talking about demographics. We're talking about lots and lots of old people and very few young people. Younger voters are losing trust in Parliament because they're being taxed more and more, heavier and heavier. Can't buy a home, barely have any spare capacity with their earnings, and yet they're watching as the elderly get more and more money in tax breaks, in pensions, heating allowance, basically, if you're lucky, in medical care and so forth. They're thinking it's unfair. And they've probably got a point, it is. However, this is not a problem that's limited to Britain. It's a worldwide westernised problem. Too many old people, not enough young people. The demographic is all wrong. Older people are living longer, and there's more of them continually. Now, the problem will sort itself out in about 40 years' time, but it's going to be pretty hard until then. Spending on pensions and the NHS, and proportionately older people use the NHS more than the young, it has soared, but you've got a shrinking number of young people going into work, working, being productive, and being taxed to pay for it. And they're looking at various solutions. And one of the solutions they're looking at is that elderly people tend to own their own homes. And that they tend to have bought those homes a long time ago for very little money and have benefited, really, of having an excellent life by having effectively a free home. Particularly the very old. The example I like to give was if you bought a house in 1972, you bought it for sweet FA, really cheap, £12,000. Your salary might have only been £1,000. By 1976, your salary would have been £5,000, and the house would have been worth twice, maybe even 3 times as much. Yes. And if you'd have just stayed there, look at you. You'd have paid your house off in no time. You'd be owning it. And of course then, boom, 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 over the years. So there's a lot of capital tied up. And you haven't done anything with it. And so to the young, they're saying, oh, but all the old people got all the money. Look at that. And they haven't had to struggle to pay for housing. No, they haven't. And that's fine. It seems unfair, but it's the way it is. After all, it's the young that are going to be inheriting these houses. They won't mind so much then, will they? But a shrinking working age population, a growing demand for pensions, treatment, NHS and so forth. It's a circle that can't be squared. Who's going to pay for it? Increasingly higher taxation, borrowing, whatever, who knows? The trouble is, as the elderly, this big cohort then, move on and die, it means because of the smaller population below them, it means that then the elderly numbers will shrink rather quickly. Over the course of, say, 20 to 30 years, it will be noticeable. After 40 years, it's gone, and it becomes sustainable again. So, governments have got to look at a 40-year window. What can they do? There's no easy answer. What the Tory think tank, though, are proposing is forced sale of these houses and then taxation on the houses to pay for care. This is a Tory government, or this is the Tory think tank saying, take people's houses from them, allow them to live there, but the house belongs to the state, and the state will then sell those houses to, say, a landlord who'll buy these houses. The money goes into the state. That will help pay for the care for the elderly, for their pensions, for their health care, thus removing the tax onus on the young, allowing them to buy the houses that they've just taken away from the elderly. And That doesn't sound very Tory at all. Or the other thing is they want to encourage the elderly to downsize and sell their houses to the younger people, to their grandchildren, whatever, at half price. And this is possibly a better one. You sell the house to the child for half the price. You take your money and move into a smaller home. And the child then has this half price house. It reduces the burden. They can afford a house. They're not then forking out all that money for a house. It means any tax rises are then affordable by them because they don't have a house to pay for as well as taxes. That's another option. The third option, of course, is that basically you stop paying the pension, or you stop increasing the pensions, and you cut funding for elderly care in the NHS. That's inhumane. But you've got to do something. And this is what the think tank is saying. There's no way around it. There is a way around it, and that's for the young to start breeding again. But they don't. They can't afford to. We made sure of that when we made women have to work. Brilliant idea, eh? The governments around the world thought they were being clever. Let's get women into work. We can tax them. Paying for it now. But yeah, when a Tory think tank comes up with ideas like this, what do? There's no solution. There's no easy solution. Even Elon Musk has been saying for years we need to have more babies. People look at him as though he's mad. He's saying, no, we don't need to double the planet or anything. We just need to have a slight growth in babies right now, short term, for about 10 years. They will come in to the workforce just as the hump of the elderly come out. It just gives that little bump down and it's sustainable. Then when the huge cohort die off, you've just got a little cohort that's maintainable later on by that level of working people in the market. It says controlled population. It's the only way, and we've got to do it. We've got to give tax breaks for young people to have babies. Simple as. Nothing's ever simple though, is it, Elon? Nothing. You try getting that through Parliament. Ain't going to happen. What are your views? What are your views on this? Do the young deserve a break? Because they're all going to have to work very, very hard for old f***ers like me and you. And, you know, you being anyone who's probably over 40, because it's going to be a 40-year problem. Anyone over 40 is going to be benefiting from it. But should we do that? Should we give them tax breaks to have babies? Should we come up with a third, fourth or fifth solution? Let me know. Thanks a lot. Bye.